it's Ashley here, and today we're going to talk about another Seiko. Yes, another Seiko. Today is all about this big boy here, the Seiko Monster SRPH75. In this video, I'll be sharing briefly about the Seiko Monster's heritage and then diving into the watch itself, as well as sharing my opinions on its wearability, the design, and of course, whether it's worth the money. Feel free to use the time codes below to skip around if you want to. The Seiko Monster is part of the iconic lineup of dive watches by Seiko. The name Monster comes from the design of the dive watch because it exudes this very aggressive and monster-like design, especially with the monster teeth-like hour markers and the bezel looking like as if there are bite marks. I also just want to say something very quickly that somehow all these names, they are just so cute and kind of makes sense. For example, you have the Seiko Turtle due to its case design looking like a turtle shell, as well as the Seiko Tuna because of the shroud shielded case looking like a can of tuna. So yeah, I just want to get it out there that all these names are just so cute. But I digress, let's get back to the Monster. The first generation Monster with reference number SKX779 and XKX781, they featured the 7S26 caliber. Subsequently, Seiko released limited editions like the yellow and the red Monsters. Later, the second generation, the SRP307, 309, 313, 311, with the 4R36 movement took the stage. Then we have the third generation with variants such as SBDC025, 023, 067, and they house the 6R15 movement. And now we have the fourth and latest generation of Monsters, and with one notable difference. That is, going back to the 4R36 movement, which means there's a day window. Like the second generations, there's a candy-like bubble on the day date window, which is a polarizing design to many Monsters fans out there. The Seiko Monster has always been known for its tough appearance, with monster teeth hour markers and a cork-like bezel. It's thick and durable and exudes an aggressive charm. However, it's a polarizing design. It's not everyone's cup of tea. And also the price has seen significant heights, with the third generation onwards pricing around $525 at retail, and somehow this has turned away some of the Monster fans. When it comes to this watch, this big boy was released under the Save the Ocean umbrella as special edition models. Save the Ocean by Seiko is an initiative that centers around marine conservation, where they do things like partnering with PADI in the Marine Debris Program to help reducing marine debris of the ocean, involving into environmental research, and protecting underwater resources. Under the Save the Ocean lineup, there are about 15 watches or so, including the Seiko Turtle SRPE39 Manta Ray, the SRPG59 Seiko Tuna, which features, what's my best guess? Penguin feet, I guess? Most people call this as the Seiko Antarctica, but I'm not sure this feet belongs to who. But my best guess, penguin? But what we're going to review today is the SRPH75's, the penguin dial version, which, yes, is obviously penguins. Really cute and visually stunning. I also think that this lineup will catch a lot of diving fans out there just because the tie with the Save the Ocean. Let's talk about the specifications and the design. Measuring at 42.4mm in diameter, it isn't a small watch by any means, especially taking into the thickness of 13.2mm into account. Is a buff watch for sure. I mean, the bezel itself is already taking up 4.6mm in thickness. But having said all that, the lug-to-lug measurement is pretty conservative at around 47.9 or 48mm. When viewing from the side, it doesn't look that crazy actually. Thanks to the relatively mid-sized lugs that angles downward pretty sharply. The bezel is a stainless steel with a 120 click unidirectional bezel, making it feel very nice to rotate the bezel. Real clicky, real snappy. The lug width is of 20mm, making a strap change a really easy one, especially with the drill lugs. You have the unsigned screw down crown at 4 o'clock, keeping the watch a little bit more symmetrical with the curvature of the watch case. At the back, you have a closed screw down case back with a Prospex logo and the words Special Edition, and of course with the famous Seiko wave engraved on it, like most of other Seiko's divers. The watch comes with a Hardlex crystal, which is Seiko's proprietary crystal, claiming that it's more scratch resistant than, let's say, a mineral crystal, but still, somehow it sits below the level of sapphire crystal. Like I pointed out earlier, the watch comes with the elongated Cyclops bubble. This movement has a power reserve of around 41 hours based on the spec sheet from Seiko. The bezel and the side of the case is of typical compared to other Monster watches, with it being serrated, adding to its aggressive and bold look. Another thing about this design is that it is very easy to grip and rotate the bezel due to its grooves here. The bracelet is also something that I like about this watch. I like that it's a mixture of polish and brush bracelet. I like that it's a mixture of polish and brush finishing. Of course, you can't compare Seiko's bracelet to like those luxury watch bracelets. But to me, this bracelet is already good enough. It's sturdy, feels solid and heavy enough to complement the watch itself. I keep the best part to the last when it comes to design. The best part of this watch would have to be the gorgeous dial. I would like to confess I'm a sucker for gorgeous dials, especially those gradient sunburst textured dials. Like that's how usually I will determine whether do I like the watch or not. And if you are showing me cute penguins swimming around this very deep sea textured gradient-like dark blue that is supposed to resemble the ocean, man, say no more. Speaking about the dial, the hour markers alongside the minute and hour hands, they are thick, which makes it glows brightly with the Seiko's Lumi Bright, and is easily one of the best looms I've ever seen. Earlier, I've posted a post in my community page as well as my Instagram whether is there anything that you wish me to highlight about this watch, and most of you asked me about its wearability because like some of you have said it looks big and chunky and looks heavy. I would love to answer your question about the wearability, but then again I think I'm the wrong person to share my opinions on this because I think with my itty bitty wrist of 150mm, I think I'm the wrong target market for these kind of watches. So please take my opinion with a pinch of salt. Based on my wrist of 150mm, it is a big watch. And maybe due to its weight, and yes, it's one of the heavier watches I've dealt with. When I wear it, it feels a little bit top heavy. Having said all that, the short lugs do help a bit. So I mean, if you have a wrist like mine, and if you really like this design of the watch, sure, go for it, but it's just not for me. But I think if your wrist is more than 170mm or more, this watch might suit you better. Like the owner of this watch, who is my good friend, I approached him and asked this question, whether does it sit top heavy for him, and he said that it's a perfect fit for his big wrist because anything lesser than 41mm, it's too small for him. And if I were to guess, his wrist size is probably around 180mm. Like one of my subscribers said, the 4th generation is the most conservative and most wearable of the Monsters, that it wears better than you think. Now let's talk about the price now. Whether something is too expensive or not, it's very subjective. I'm just here to convey my opinions on this. This watch retails at USD $525, and with discount, you can get it around 400-ish at Joma Shop. And for Malaysians out there watching this video, you can get it from Lazada at around 1,004. Prices are indeed subjective, but I will try my best to list down some other alternatives to consider within the $500. For those who like dive watches but want to save some money, you can consider the Seiko SRPDs, which price around $200+. And of course, you are sacrificing the special edition and the monster appeal of the watch. The SRPDs are definitely way more conservative design, and if you would like to save even more money, I would highly recommend the Oran Komatsu, pricing below $200. For those of you who like a Swiss-made dive watch, you can consider the Tissot C-Star, pricing at below $500. You can get an aesthetically very round diver's watch with a 300 meters water resistance. Of course, this list doesn't stop here. There are abundance of watches below $500 that you can get that of good quality. For those watch nerds who are crazy about specs, I'm sure there are a lot of micro brands out there that can offer good watches with, for example, sapphire crystal at this price range. What I'm trying to say is there are lots of watches out there within this price range, but I would argue that this watch is perhaps the best choice for those who like number 1, monster watches, number 2, bold and aggressive charm of the watch, number 3, textured dial. I mean, this is probably one of the best dials I've ever seen. I mean, it's cute, it has meaning, and the gradient is just so nice. And Seiko makes the best dials. It's very difficult to find any other brands that offer this sort of dial. Number 4, if you're an ocean fan. Number 5, if you're crazy about looms. Because like what I said earlier, this watch has one of the best looms. So if you are interested in taking a look on this watch or any other watches that I've mentioned, I have a Joma Shop affiliate links below in my description. I've highlighted my top 20 picks. I've also listed some promo codes that you can use to get further discounts. And for Malaysians out there who don't usually buy watches from Amazon or Joma Shop, you can check out my Lazada or Shopee links below as well. They are affiliate links. And that's all from me today. I have an exciting project coming up soon in my next video, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't, like this video, and also comment if you have any opinions on these watches or any other watches that I've mentioned, and if you have any other suggestions for my next video. And that's all. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.